Holla holla, it's your boy George Billionaire on Monday, and you know what time it is. It's hustle hard time. And always on the show, we're to do three things. We're here to provoke, inspire, and equip so that you can be a better individual. I'm so excited about last week, and if you haven't watched the show, make sure you click on the link on the page and go and watch all the hustle hard series that we've watched, that we've done. There's so many of them, and if you haven't liked, shared, or even subscribed to that page, make sure you go there and watch the Hustle Hard series, the School Run Diary series, and very soon we're going to be making the GB Mentorship series that we've been having on the result-based mentorship, which happens every single Monday. So before I go to radio, today is Monday, we had a 9 to 10 o'clock session with some amazing entrepreneurs, which some of those videos are going to be published live. We've been keeping a good, since January up until now. Those sessions have been private, but now they're going to be public, and it's an encouragement to you, especially if you want mentorship from GB, and definitely get some result-based mentorship. We would encourage you to be a part of this amazing program. Today, we're going to have another session, question and answer session on Capi Talk with Becky K. And of course, we're going to have to talk about business aspects which can help you to grow and upscale your business. And I've been in business nearly a decade and a half now, and there are many things that I've learned that help you to level up, to become a better, more productive individual, to help your business grow. Because there are going to be seasons, but the most important thing in business is upscaling and becoming a better individual. So stay tuned. Let's go. Let's always be provoked, inspired, and equipped. But most importantly, let's be people who take action. Because without action, nothing can ever be done. The best way to see somebody who's going to make it in life is somebody who's deliberately taking action steps to achieve what they want to be and ultimately become a better version of themselves. Your boy George Billionaire. Make sure you click like, press that bell notification now, and see you soon. Let's go.
100.4 FM is what you are tuned into. It's a Monday, and on a Monday we really try to provoke, inspire, and equip the pulses as much as we can. So if you listen to the radio, especially Capi Talk, between 12 and 3 o'clock, you're known as a pulser because you're tuned into the pulse. We give the heartbeat the pulse. So without us, what is the heartbeat? I mean, we do the things. We've got the vibe. Tisu and Macho, who keep things alive. George is in studio with us, and we are talking all things business. But before we get into all things business, George, what's up?
Holla holla. It's your boy, George Billionaire.
And how is
with
George?
None other than the one and only. I always love introducing Becky K, because I've known Becky K from a long time, and it's always good to be on a program with somebody who is similar minded.
Absolutely.
Somebody who has come from somewhere very far. One day, Becky, we should have a biography of who Becky K is, so people understand that Becky wa mona uyu asi wa akavakara akadaro. She came from somewhere and she's risen up. She's blossoming now and becoming an amazing individual.
Oh,
so it's always good to have you on the program, Becky. And one day I would want to be you and actually interview you on Hustle Hard, so that people can actually say, wait a minute, we always hear George and Becky's asking. I would want to really flip that, and people get to know a little bit about Becky K and where she's come from.
That would be very interesting. It would be an interesting
and me interviewing you. Yep. Trust you me. It will be live. It will be live.
Anyway.
Yes.
I saw your family post. I think was it this morning?
All right.
The amazing G's. Dude, yeah. Your family looks wonderful.
Wow, thank you.
You are doing an amazing thing. And I think one of the things that actually stands out for business people is if they can keep both things running well.
Wow.
The family and the business. If you look at it, most business men and sometimes women when they are on that road or on the verge to scale up their business, they have got blinkers on, and then they put blinkers for the family as well, and then they forget the family, they forget the people that they're doing the things for. But you've somehow managed to balance it out. Maybe balance is not the correct word, but you've managed to allocate your time, maybe not evenly, but you've managed to allocate your time well to make sure that your family is not neglected.
You know, Becky, with that in mind, I love this quote that life is what you make it. And the thing about life is you never are guaranteed for your tomorrow. And the only thing that your children, your family, most importantly your family, are going to remember are those little breakfasts. And that was a little breakfast we had. It was exit weekend. We decided to, hey, Dad is busy, but come guys, let's have a little breakfast. It's just deliberately making time,
intentional, on purpose.
Yeah, you know, it was an hour, but it was great. We got to share. You know, sometimes you can do it at home, but sometimes it's good to have it away. You'll get to sit down, chat, you know, laugh, take a picture, take a little video. Those are memories that will live long.
Absolutely.
So I think, like you're rightfully saying, we need to be intentional with making time with the most important people, which are our family. You can't be a hero in the business sector and not have a relationship with your kids, your spouse, your family.
Imagine.
You need to find a balance some way, somehow, and make sure you make those memories all the time.
All right, let's get into what we're talking about today. So if you are in business or thinking about getting into business, today's program is especially for you. A big shout out to all the pulsers that are tuned in. Gilbert Billiard, thank you for tuning in. Boss Makarachi, Chavengwa Chitanga, Mama Madison Jr., Maya Matipa, Baba One Night, who's this one? Ernest Fulao. This one has no name yet, but you're in no tone. Oh, when I see something exciting was happening over the weekend. Munya in Vinona, thank you for tuning in. Now, George, we've spoken a lot about, you know, what it takes to keep a business running, the tenacity, the blocking out negativity, choosing your circle, and, you know, just being surrounded by the right people. We've never really focused or spoken about how to scale your business up, and this is something that is inevitable in business. And as I was, thinking about this topic, I started researching and finding out it takes a lot to scale a business up. And I discovered why some businesses just remain where they are, because they've got that fear of, what if we just bam by and then we won't have a way to come back, and we are now worse off than where we started off. So certain things to consider. I picked about 10 things to consider when you are trying to scale up your business. So the keys or the steps to consider was to optimize on the process, assess and optimize the process, how to streamline. And then there was build a strong team. For me, I think this was like, it stood out. Invest in technology, obviously, because that's where the world is, not even is going, that's where the world is. Secure funding, there again, the money factor. And then expand marketing efforts. You need to know exactly who you're marketing to, what it is that you are marketing, and then you have to monitor the finances because you want to scale up. And then you've got to maintain company culture, because you can actually lose yourself while you are trying to scale up. And then analyze data, of which obviously that's why you're here. And then stay adaptable. And I remember you once spoke about this, like, if you don't want to be extinct, adapt or die. The story that I remember you told us was about the Nokia one. Like, Nokia could be as big as Apple, but it's not, because they need
to adapt.
They refuse.
True that.
And then you have to plan for the scalability. You have to plan and check, am I scalable, or should I just maintain and be where I am? So I'm going to leave this time to you to take us through the whole process of scaling up. And I'll start off by asking, what are the most effective ways to scale a business, like as basic as the businesses that we have here in Zim, whether they're in electronics, they're in motor mechanics, they're in whatever, like the common
Yeah.
normal businesses. Kwangofamba,
Yeah, true.
downtown imomo ndoma business akatakura economy yedu
Yeah.
yoyi. Yeah, so how do I scale up from the basic business?
Right. So thanks for that, Becky. And a big shout out to all the pulsers.
Yeah.
We're live on Facebook. I'm live on my Facebook page, Instagram, George Billionaire, for some people who may want to tune in and see what's happening live. Scaling up is important, but it is not the most important thing.
Yeah.
Because with businesses nowadays, the most important thing is to stay afloat. And at times, the pressure to grow may not be the best thing at the current time, because you need to be able to see the level that you're at and not be pressurized to expand. Ultimately, we've got some amazing companies here in Zimbabwe who have branches in all towns and 10 provinces of the country. But with where you are at, maybe you've got a shop in a mall, you've got one branch. The most important thing is to be able to see, especially with modern day trends. You'll find you may not have to open many branches around the country, especially now with the modern age technology where you can deliver things and you can send things via. You need to be able to analyze where you are, because that's the most important thing.
Right.
Gone are the days, Becky K, where people would need to go window shopping. I like the point you spoke about, because there are a lot of technological trends that have now happened, where now there is WhatsApp chat boxes, there is online stores. With wherever you are, there's a far better, easier way, whether it's insurance, whether it's food, whether it's clothing, whether it's you want to pay for whatever service, a bill. You don't need to necessarily go there anymore, because there's convenience. So you need to do a self-retrospect with your organization and your business to be able to say, what is it which is convenient, which brings convenience to people, that can actually help us to maximize our sales.
Right.
And if you look at food outlets, there's now dial-a delivery, where you can order your food and it's delivered to your doorstep. You can buy clothes online.
Yep.
You can buy a car and it can be delivered to your doorstep. You can basically do anything. You can buy hair. You can have somebody come and give you a massage at home, do your nails and anything. So scaling up is one thing, but I think it's more understanding the market that you are in,
Right.
and adapting to the current trends that are happening. Because opening up a shop, look at it this way, Becky, only blue chip companies and well-established companies are able to grow branches, right? But for most of the people who are listening, who are mainly startups or SMEs,
Right.
you need to see, okay, I am where I'm at. How can I better be visible nationwide, continent-wise, worldwide, to be able to provide a product and service? So I'm recently in touch with some guys who are in China. They don't have a branch in Africa, right? But they provide a solution with what they have across there, and they're providing me a solution without having a branch here. So if you look at how the world has opened up, especially the internet, it's created such a huge gateway of, you can conduct business in so many ways without having a physical, tangible shop. We know all these platforms which, don't have actual offices, but they're conducting business. So with where you're at, it's not necessarily scaling up. It's seeing how better a convenience you can be to people that is actually going to increase your sales. Because if you look at it now, how many people are actually, for example, going to the bank? You may say you want to open another bank, for example. People are not going to banks anymore, right? They're not. People are doing
Things
online,
yeah.
right? If you want to buy food, you don't necessarily physically have to go. You can just locate whatever it is. So expanding is just seeing a better way of doing business, right?
Right.
That's scaling up. What can I do as Pro A? What can we do to provide a solution to people instead of us opening branches all over? We come up with an app. We come up with a way that we can, interact quickly, get back to people. That's simple, because with customers nowadays, because they are spoiled for choice.
Yeah.
There's so many people doing the exact same thing that you are doing. So what should that specific client choose you. Whenever they give you a call, be quick to respond, have a message sent back to them, have a follow-up call, make sure you send a team on site to do whatever needs to be done, deliver within the specified time. That way, that helps you to grow. So as businesses, the key thing, especially in this modern day and age, is adapting. And like we've said at the beginning, you either adapt or die. You will become a Nokia, a Kodak, or that company that you know, which was once
What's
upon a
Motorola
time.
doing?
You know, they're all trying to come back.
Yeah.
All the Blackberries, all this, they were once on top. And this is the challenge with most organizations who are on top now. Even musicians, you may be on top. Don't get a big head when you're on top.
Right.
Because you're going to...
The wheel goes round.
And, you know, when we grew up, Becky K, we listened to certain artists, you remember, all those hit songs. But look at them now. Where are they now? It's only one or two who really are still in existence.
Yeah.
So it's the same with businesses. If you adapt, you know, we've got 50 Cent who, you know, adapted and became now one of the best, you know, movie producers and making series, right?
Yeah.
But he used that opportunity to adapt, to say, I can't keep singing. I got to make a plan and adapt. So is it.
That's proper scaling up.
That's scaling up.
Like
Corner, could you wait? I can't just keep doing one thing. You know, with us, we've got 4 different product lines at Pro Air.
Right.
It's just not air conditioning. So car air conditioning, portable, gas heaters. You gotta adapt. You just can't be stuck on one thing, because you need to do things that are closely aligned to what you already do. That's adapting to what you hear people saying. Becky, why don't you do this? Becky, you're such a great MC. Why don't you host an event of yourself, right? That's actually scaling up. It's already what you're doing now, but that's a form of scaling up which is not too far off from what already you are doing.
I'm glad you actually brought that up, because there was a question here. And hi, Becky, can you ask Uncle Billy what scaling up really is? Is it opening another branch or doing something different from what I'm already doing?
Yeah, so scaling up is this. It's simply looking at what you're doing and adding and complementing what you're already doing.
Okay.
To, like I gave a simple example right now. If, you know, other people want to have the expense of opening branches, but that's not it. You're going to have a shop which is full of stuff, and maybe you haven't done a proper market research on the market that needs those things. But when you do your proper research, like you did when you're scaling up, because it's very important. Scaling up is actually understanding that, okay, we're having 1,000 customers come to this branch. If we moved closer to those, and most of these people are coming from area B, why don't we bring convenience instead of all those people coming across? You know, there was a fast food outlet here in the country. They started off with one, and it was full. Then they saw, wait, these people are coming from across town. Why don't we, instead of now at lunchtime having a long queue, let's have another. And you can tell by the demand that's coming to your shop that, listen, people are coming from there, and there. Let us distribute this, you know, congestion. So you can also do that personally to see, okay, where are my clientele from? Do most of our clients call us? Are they coming into the shop? If they're mainly people who WhatsApp or call you, and it's a service-based business, you need to make sure that you have an effective team that once a message comes, once a call comes, you've got a full backup plan to make sure you take care of that customer. But if it's in-house people that come in, maybe it's for a haircut or something, you definitely, because you don't want a long queue of people. So depending on what product or service you're in, you yourself will be able to attest that, listen, you can't have 10 people waiting to get a haircut.
Absolutely.
Therefore, we need to increase my branches to be able to, or we need to increase our barbers or something like that. So it depends on what you do. But I think at mostly scaling up is just increasing the inflows of your income by what you're doing directly to help your business to grow.
All right, 0719 100 404 is the WhatsApp number to get in touch. You can send through your questions, your comments, or your contributions. And remember, you're just saying, hi, Uncle Billy, and then you ask your question. When can I then start scaling up? What determines its time? to scale up? Am I checking my neighbor? We're in the same business. We have to scale up. Aimbotengesa huku iko zvinokuita nemazai akuita the feed my chickens and all of that. Am I looking at what other people are doing in business? Am I looking at my competitors, or am I just scaling based on how I am growing?
So Becky, the greatest challenge with our modern day human beings is competition, and we want to identify ourselves by competing instead of true mastery of your own identity. So remember this, we are different.
Wait, don't just go by it so fast.
All right.
We are what?
Right. The thing that we lack the most is lack of self-identity, self-mastery. We want to be able to think that because Becky K is blossoming, the jacaranda trees are out, she's flourishing, so I should also get into that trade. But we can't have two similar people. We were created differently. The way we do our things are different. And what we need to do is identify, this is where I'm at, and I need to be patient to help my business to grow at the level that is progressive. But when I see somebody else opening another branch, you think, no, let me also open another one. You don't know their plan. Remember, you started off with the 10-point plan. You need to have marketing, have a plan. Where are you going? All of us have different missions and goals. So scaling up is not for everybody. There are very successful businesses that are there that have one branch, and they are operating very effectively because they've understood, listen, we can operate all of these just from this one branch, and we can decentralize our teams to go and take care of things wherever they are. Right? Then there are others who actually don't even need all of that to happen, but they still are successful. So scaling up is dependent on when you do an internal check on where you are and where you want to go, because businesses are different, and you don't want to have so many overhead costs. You don't want to have employing so many people, and yet you're supposed to, the essence of a business is to make profit. So if you open up too many things, after 6-7 months, you'll see, no, this was not the best way to grow. Because remember, Chinotanga is brand recognition. It takes 5-10 years for people to accept your brand. Do they like your product? Do they like your service? And then you'll begin to see the huge traffic really coming on. But for most startups, focus, execute, deliver, make sure your workmanship is exceptional. Make sure people speak on behalf of, wow, those guys came, they did an amazing job. Remember, we've told you here on Hustle Hard, the best form of marketing on planet Earth.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth, what people say
Nothing
about
beats
you.
Word of mouth.
So before you scale up, don't want to, do so much and it affects your workmanship when you have a small team. And then now people who are going to execute your job are not representing you and your values. So scaling up happens when you become a master of that and you've decentralized and delegated your team to become just the same. When people go and install an aircon somewhere, they shouldn't say, where's John? He did a better job. Your team needs to be exactly the same. So it's important that you focus on becoming effective first before you want to become somebody who scales up. Otherwise, one failed job can really affect your reputation that you've built for many years.
The George Billionaire on Hustle Hard, 0719-100-404 is the WhatsApp number. We're just taking an ad break. When we come back, we go through the questions that the listeners are sending. From 12 to about 1 o'clock, George Billionaire comes through and he talks about all things business, or just to keep your head in the game and making sure that you don't give up. He comes through to provoke, to inspire, and to equip you to make sure that you don't give up on the business. So today we're talking about how to scale up your business, if it is necessary, if you should be doing it. And he just said something so profound. He said you should actually be focusing on self-mastery. Stop this competition thing and focus on how to master you, yourself, your own identity. Whomst are you before you start looking at everybody else? So the ad break is almost done. We're going back into the interview.
Becky K in the building on the ones and twos.
Right, we are back with George Billionaire, and your messages are coming through. Thank you so much, Pulses, for the responses and for the questions that you are sending. George, just before we went on the break, you mentioned something to do with team, and that was the next question I was going to ask, but the listener about Tangira, so you know the listeners are more important.
Very true.
This listener says, "Hey George, thank you so much for the scaling up talk. Inyaya yangu iri pa teamwork apo. Do I hire family members because ndoda kuedza kusimudzira vanhu vekumba kwedu, or am I hiring from outside? Ndibatsiro."
Wow, great question.
Yeah.
And we've spoken about this before. If you're really wanting to scale up and grow your business, sometimes family may become very familiar at a certain level because they know you. When they come in, understand this, and most people will say this, it's not 100% of the time. Most family members you rope into the organization will at some place and time become complacent, and because they've been in the organization for a long time,
Right.
they won't take instructions from you like somebody who does not know you.
So are you saying no matter how strict you are to them, they will still be complacent?
In some instances, I've got some friends who work well with their sekuru, their uncle, their cousin, their sister. And as long as there's that protocol and level of respect, is great, because they are not going to be afraid of firing them because they're family. If you have that policy and you're that person who you're not going to be shy of going to family functions because you fired Becky, your brother, sister, you know, it has to be work is work. So for me, I wouldn't highly recommend that unless you've got a strict stance, because family becomes very familiar. It's always good to recruit people based on their qualifications, on what you want to achieve. Because one thing about scaling up, one thing about having a successful business, which we've seen with some of the greatest business people around the world, they recruit somebody who is an executor of tasks, of goals. But with people who, you know, in an organization, I can ask anybody who's listening right now, if you have a sales team or a department, you know who your weakest link is in that organization. If there were 10 people asked right now where you are, who is the weakest link? I'm always one who's prone to say, don't keep a bad apple in a team, because that bad apple will affect the productivity of people who want to do things. So if I come in your organization, I will definitely say, no, John is not good for you. He's going to slow your organization down. So for me, I'm one who recruits not on numbers, but on how people can execute. It's not about having a sales team of 10 people. You can have 2 people who are able to execute what those 10 that are not as productive can. So for me, I'm not one who highly recommends recruiting family unless they are well, you know, executors in what they're doing. But for me, it's a no-no based on the, you know, past experiences that I've had. Friends and family, not good. You won't get people who do and reach the level you want to do, especially if you want to scale up. But if you get people who, you know, you remunerate well, you train well, and they're executors, those people will help the business grow. And I think we've seen that with most of these businesses that great entrepreneurs here in the country and Africa have started. They've left people to run those, and they're running them well because they're not related, but they are executors. And they follow exactly what you want to do and get it done.
I think you actually answered the next question, which was, what is it that you look for when you are recruiting staff, and great executors is what you should be.
For me, Becky, I'm not one who necessarily looks at your qualifications. No, I'm not one. I'm one who looks for
Don't you want to know if I can do the job?
And you know, whenever I do interviews or when I look at people, I look at sheer zeal, ambition, how hungry they are. If they tell me, George, if you let me do this, I will do this. And I like that. I don't like people who talk too much. I want people who are action oriented. One of my mentors always tells me this, George, don't tell me what you're going to do. Show me. I don't want to have too much Masasa Park, talk, this, that, and the other. But be an action-based person. And those are the people who get things done. So whether you have a sales team or people who are wanting to do things, the ones who act are the ones who get results done. The ones who talk and say, I don't know, next week we'll do, those ones. I'm not saying fire them, please, but have a serious chat with them so that they can act more and begin to
Absolutely.
produce results.
Absolutely. Lawrence, who was looking forward to Uncle Billy coming through. And hi, Becky. Hi, Cappy Talk. I am looking forward to Uncle Billionaire and wise topic there that you have actually spoken of. But Inini Angu family is the best to work with in times when they will, because they will go a long way and they'll go out of their way more than those paid maids, especially immediate family. So he says no, only for me immediate family, because they know what's happening. They won't act fine.
Yeah, that's good, but experience will tell you this. Time will tell. Remember, if you're scaling up and growing, time will tell. And you'll understand what I'm saying from experience,
Right.
especially from the large number of mentors I have who did that once upon a time.
Also, you actually saw.
I saw it.
You did-
I've
so
been
you
advised
don't
not
have
to,
to
and
try it out.
it's one of those. So, but I mean, if it's working for you, great. Like I said, it's not most of the time, but you will find, out of 10 people, a large number will say, "I would not want to work with family because as we grew, they felt entitled.
Yeah.
They felt no."
But
You
family
can't buy
members,
another
why
car
do you do
before.
this?
No, that's family for you.
Yeah.
They come in hungry, looking up to you, but when you get to a certain level, you'll begin to see now there's a very high level of disrespect.
Right.
And, they can sabotage the business and not make it scale up the way you want it to.
All right. With the time that we have left is exactly a minute. What's the information that we should go home with in terms of, I'm in business or I want to start a business? What's the one thing that I'm grabbing from everything that we've just said today?
To me, as always, I'm a messenger of truth, and the truth is this. Your JOB is going to take care of your basic needs. But I can tell you that when you begin a side hustle, which is what we are encouraging you to do here on Hustle Hard, start something with a little bit of extra income you're getting. You will never know what you can do unless you try. You will never know what is behind that door unless you open that door. Most of the people listening today are full of fear, they're full of doubt, they're full of hesitation and procrastination. But with that, you will never reach the other side of life where you're financially free. So from today's show, if this is your major take home, that thing that you're fearing to do it. Because that fear is only existing in your mind, and it's holding you back from the true potential that you possibly could ever become.
That fear is only existing in your mind, and it could be holding you back from what you could actually do in exerting your full potential. It is 1 o'clock on Cappy Talk. Stand by for the news. When we come back, it's all fun and music.